The first thing you want to do when you get an AP Calc question that has a graph on it is figure out what that is the graph of. And this one is telling us that what we're looking at above is the graph of f of x. So we are looking at the graph of f of x, the original function. And then they want to know which of the following graphs down below could be the graph of the derivative. So down below here, we're looking at a bunch of graphs of our derivatives. Well, when you need to read the derivative off of the original function, I just use what I call my derivative triangle. So remember that derivatives are always reading the slope of a graph. So if your original graph is headed up and is increasing, that's a positive slope and therefore a positive derivative. If your original graph is headed down and decreasing, that's a negative slope and a negative derivative. And if your graph is going horizontal at any point in time, that's a zero slope and therefore a zero derivative. And we see those things, those horizontals happening usually at maxes and at mins, but they can also happen just when your graph kind of goes sideways for a second. So using that derivative triangle, I come over and I just start reading off my pluses, my minuses, and my zeros. So starting at the left-hand side here, it kind of looks like this has got sort of a horizontal at the top. So I would start at a 0. And then it's all decreasing coming out of there. So negative, 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 negative. Then at the bottom, I'm getting another horizontal right here. So that would be 0. And then coming up out of there, I'm going positive, 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 positive. These are all plus, 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 plus. And then at the top, it looks like I'm going to have another 0 to begin with. So then, once I've got that data, now I come down and I transfer that information into a derivative graph. When I'm reading off the derivative, I want my pluses would need to be up above the x-axis. Anywhere I've got a minus read off of my graph up above, that would be down below the x-axis. And then anywhere that I would have a 0 is going to hit that x-axis. And it's these zeros right here, these horizontals, we also call them critical values. Those are usually the first thing that I'm going to go looking for on a problem like this. So I know that I've got a 0 happening right here back at the beginning. So on my derivative graph better have a 0 right there at 0. It better have a 0 here at 3. And it better have a 0 here happening at 6. So I know that what I'm looking for is 3 zeros. And I looked through and it's like, okay, well, I definitely don't have my 0 happening at 3 here, so that's not it. This one has a 0 at 3, but I'm missing these zeros going on at these other places. This one has a 0 happening at 3. And as I look, again, you just got to kind of be a little careful. So I estimated that to be a 0 and I estimated that to be a 0, but nothing, they're maybe not quite there, so it's not surprising that maybe these don't hit quite at 0. But let's keep working through the rest of them. Well, this should have a 0 at 3, and it doesn't. This one should have a 0 at 3, and it doesn't. And so I'm looking right now at C like that's going to be my graph. So, I overestimated maybe the horizontals on these, but that's okay. I can kind of see that my graph was headed down there. And I would just want to check the rest of it. So what I would expect to see is between 0 and 3 that my graph is down below in the negative space. And sure enough, between 0 and 3, my graph is all down below here in the negative space. And then I would expect that between 0 and 6 that my graph would be up top, up above in the positive space. And sure enough, between 3 and 6, my graph is up in the positive. So looking back through this now, I can see that C is definitely my graph. I maybe overestimated how much of this was horizontal at those beginning and ending points, but looking at what my options were, that definitely was the best option, option C. Thanks for watching my video. If you liked it, please click that like button and subscribe. And also share it with your friends and anyone else you know who might be crying about an upcoming AP Calc test. You can find more videos from me, more sample AP Calc questions, and my complete AP Calc study guide over at my website, apcalcprep.com. Have a great one.